Hello, Chiefs Kingdom, and welcome to the Arrowhead Kingdom CHIEFScast, live from the Wolf Den. I'm Chris.
And I'm Josh, and today we're going to be talking the offseason and the Arrowhead Kingdom column. Big reminder that all Chiefs fans are invited to join us for game day. Visit arrowheadkingdom.org to learn more about the group and to find your local chapter. And also, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel.
Today, we'll be talking about your Kansas City Chiefs with a member of the Arrowhead South chapter coming out of West Palm Beach in Florida, Brent Lawler. Welcome, Brent.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And we're, of course, presented by Complete Weddings and Events, your leading provider of photo, video, DJ, photo booth, lighting, and coordination services. Please visit them at completewedo.com. And I'll echo what Chris said. Welcome, Brent. And let's start with a little bit of Arrowhead South. So Arrowhead South has been something that took on a life of its own, 13 chapters throughout all the different Gulf states across the South. And now we've rolled into this whole Arrowhead Kingdom thing. So tell us about yourself a little bit, where you came from, how you made it down into Florida, and your experience with Arrowhead South at this point.
Well, for 26 years of my life, I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas. As far as I can remember, 4 or 5 years old, being a big Chiefs fan. One of my favorite players was Joe Delaney. You remember, right, the big running back that came out and unfortunately lost his life in 1983. But I just remember liking him and watching him play. My dad was a warehouse manager at Avon back when they were in Kansas City, and he got tickets to the Chiefs games all the time. And I remember one game vividly, just watching Walter Payton and Joe Delaney play at Arrowhead Stadium in rain. I don't remember, I think it was 81 or 82, but just grew up being a Chiefs fan. Loved the Chiefs. Late 80s, early 90s, got to go to a lot of games because one of my dad's friends had season tickets. And then he decided his grandson was old enough to start attending, so I didn't get to go. So what's the best thing I did? I joined the Chiefs organization and became a security guard on game day. So from 94 to 99, I worked for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I got to meet a lot of players, got to meet Derek Thomas, probably one of my greatest Chiefs of all time. And then from there, I graduated from college and started moving south, southern Missouri, Arkansas, and then just had an opportunity to move to Florida and moved to Clearwater, Florida. Still love my Chiefs, and traveled to Texas, California, but ended right back in Florida. So down here in South Florida. So I'm married. I have 3 kids, 5 grandkids. So two kids still at home, a 14-year-old and a soon-to-be 12-year-old. The 14-year-old, I guess I didn't raise right because unfortunately he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. So, anyway, yeah. I mean, I love him, but that was a hard Super Bowl.
Yeah. Jeez. Wow, that's man. I dread the thought of my kids not growing up as Chiefs fans. I think we got them indoctrinated pretty young. Being able to take them to all these watch parties, I think, is a really good effect there, because they're around other kids that have that same thing, and that provides a little bit of the power going into the school time frame, where I think that's really where you're at the biggest risk for losing the captive audience to some degree.
Yeah, I dressed him up in Chiefs gear. I mean, he had a Matt Castle jersey. Unfortunately, I guess maybe that's where it started. He had a Tony Gonzalez jersey. I mean, and then he wasn't really into football until he was about 11 or 12, and he asked me what team, and I said, well, my heart, I would love for you to be a Chiefs fan, but he ended up choosing the Bucks, and he tells me Kansas City is his second favorite team, so I'll go with that. So
got it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was Matt Castle's fault. I'm okay calling that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so part of Arrowhead South, but you mentioned a couple other interesting things. So you got to see a game with Joe Delaney and Walter Payton playing.
Yes,
that's great. Is that your favorite Chiefs memory?
No, it's not I've got a lot of Chiefs memories, but that was my first memory of a game. I was probably, I want to say 6 or 7. It was at Arrowhead, and the Chiefs beat the Raiders 28-0. It was just one of those. I just can remember being in the stands and being up in the high seats, And I don't remember too much of the game, but I do remember a couple years later, that Joe Delaney, Walter Payton game. I remember that. But I would have to say probably the best game I ever went to and we lost was the Derek Thomas 7 sacks game.
Sure.
So just
Wow.
watching Derek Thomas, man, and and then Craig throws that last touchdown pass and just 80,000 people just stopped screaming. I mean, you could hear a pin drop at Arrowhead that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what, where were you sitting during that game?
End zone. I was right there in the end zone. That was what, 1990. So I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
So, just sitting there being excited, thought he had his 8th sack and just watched the ball. And the only people you could hear screaming was the Seattle Seahawks cheering. I mean, it was just weird. But like I said, I've had a lot of memories over the years that when we beat the Bills on Monday Night Football, that was kind of the start of it. Kansas City coming back to being a dominant force in the NFL under Marty Schottenheimer.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I haven't seen the Chiefs play in Arrowhead since probably '99, but I've seen them here in Florida and saw them in Houston, Texas one year. So.
Got it. So you work security at the stadium. What did you have a gate that you were at, or what did that job look like? Tell us about that.
I started in parking, parking cars. And then the next seat, that was 94. That was Joe Montana's first year.
Yep.
And then his second year, I moved into player parking lot, and then I worked the field. So probably the greatest thing was to get to meet Joe Montana personally. That was fun. And so, but yeah, I worked the player parking lot, and my job was actually to stand right next to Derek Thomas's car.
What did Derek Thomas drive?
It was a green. It was a Cadillac green. I can't remember the make. Their little sports car that they made. Sorry, I can't remember the make or model on it, but had ISAC QB's license plate.
That's
and
great.
So yeah, Derek Thomas was awesome. We would have a big cookout after the game, and he came and sat with us one time and had a bratwurst with us, and was talking and just very down to earth, very approachable. The other guy, Neil Smith, he was, my opinion. I won't say what my opinion was, but he never had time for fans. Let's put it that way. Always had to catch a flight, he said.
Gotcha.
Derek would come out, he'd sign a few autographs, come and talk to us. Just really great guy. Good, this franchise misses him still.
So Derek Thomas, so what you're saying is that we're truly missing out on not having him as an ambassador and just part of part of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he kind of like Mahomes, man. I mean, he just, the city just attached themselves to him.
Yeah.
And he kind of attached himself to the city. I mean, just one of those things. And we haven't had a player like that till Mahomes, honestly. I mean, we might have had a few, but not like Derek Thomas or Mahomes level, where you could say almost like Lynn Dawson level too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Alex Smith tied himself to the city, but he wasn't this meteoric force on the football field. I mean, Mahomes has this great combination of being the meteoric force on the football field and the magnetic personality off of it. And so you get the combination, and then he's gone out and bought ownership stake in all the other local teams, and he's bringing Whataburger to town. I mean, I personally prefer In-N-Out over Whataburger. I'm just going to say that out loud. But what
I don't like either one of them, so
I won't throw Whataburger out of anything. I don't know if you've ever been up to Milwaukee, but we have a place up here called Cops, and there's a lot of people here that will die on the hill that they're better than both of those. The one thing that I will say about it is they make the best frozen custard, and I will die on that hill. Before I even moved here, I knew a guy who was born in San Diego who went to UPenn, so an Ivy League school, and he ended up going to culinary school in, I want to say, Paris and New York. And he was getting ready to go to culinary school in New York, and he made a comment to me. He's like, if you ever go to Milwaukee, go to a place called Kopp's, Kopps. It's the best frozen custard you'll ever have. So I kind of went in with high expectations and still got blown away.
I've been to Milwaukee once.
Got it. How long were you here for?
It was the week before 9/11.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I remember that.
Yeah, man. Okay. Yeah, we've got an anniversary of that coming up. Speaking of.
Yeah.
20 years later. Oh yeah, wow, geez, 20
Years, yeah.
There it is.
The thing that I think is interesting is I think it's unfortunate we're seeing this Taliban resurgence. So we'll just kind of throw that out there. That has a very kind of eerie feeling to it. But just being part of like event service industry and everything, I can't think of a time that there's been a more dead day where people just don't want to do something than what that day is shaping up to be. Like nobody wants to have their wedding on 9/11. Nobody's trying to do anything.
I think in our home opener on 9/11.
It's on the 12th.
It's on the 12th. It's the day after. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm hoping that Clark has something, planned, a nice tribute for that. And I'm hoping the NFL, comes proper on that.
I once flew on 9/11 on one of this like a few years ago. It was September 11th. I flew on that. And the person I sat next to, we talked about it for like an hour. Then after an hour, I'm like, can we talk about something else now? I don't want to talk about this anymore. I think I'm over it.
I've flown on 9/11, I think 3 times. And that's generally a pretty quick day through the airport, understandably.
Yeah,
But that day, I want to say the taxes and fees on flights are usually 2x. Or it's like the week leading up to it. So that's interesting. Have any of you guys been to the memorial in Pennsylvania?
I haven't.
I'm not.
So I was on a road trip to Philadelphia, and on the way back, we saw the sign, and I want to say it was about an hour and a half drive off the freeway to get there. And I don't really know what to say other than just completely worth it. If you ever get the opportunity to drive out there, I highly recommend it. It was correct. Yeah. They've done
that was in the tower. She was in the second tower, and she lives in Florida now. And when she worked for me, she'd tell me, "Look, I won't be in till after the second tower time." And I said, "What do you mean?" She told me, she goes, "I was in the tower working and got out." And so that's a day of mourning for her, because she lost a lot of coworkers that day and the job she was doing then.
Yeah, geez. No, I remember, this is the last thing I'll say on this note. I remember going to a national convention for the fraternity in college, and the guy who was essentially the head professional running a collegiate fraternity, because there really is a big team of people that have full-time jobs to do stuff like that. His fiance was working in the tower, and he like talked to her on the phone in the morning and never saw her again.
Wow,
so yeah, just crazy stuff. But yeah, totally understand where your employee was coming from. So to get back to a little bit of football, you obviously have a ton of good memories. So Chris and Brian, what are your guys' favorite kind of pre this Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid era? What are your favorite Chiefs memories?
Chris, I'll defer to you first. Let me think about it.
It's going to be a weird one, and Brent, you were probably at this game. It was I guess it would have been a divisional game in 1997 against John Elway and the Broncos. And the only reason why it was so memorable to me is not the outcome, screw the outcome, but just that is the loudest atmosphere I've ever been in my life, was that game. And I've been to games, after that, but I still like to find that game every now and then just to watch like the first half, just how electric that atmosphere was. So yeah, that always stands out to me. It's just, Arrowhead is just such an incredible place.
Is that the Pete Stoyanovich 50-yard field goal for the win?
No, it was a playoff game when they lost 14-10. Yeah.
I was at both those games, but yeah.
Yeah. I wish I was at the Stoyanovich game, but unfortunately, no.
I still to this day wonder why we faked that field goal. But anyway.
Oh yeah. Louis Aguilar running around, yeah. Yeah. A lot of what ifs in that game.
If Stoyanovich can't kick that far, then I just
go
anyway.
For it. Yeah. Yep.
No, kick the field goal. It's what, 14-13? Our defense was playing lights out. We stopped them. We're in for field goal range. We didn't have Lynn Elliott. He was gone. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh God, don't that name.
He who will not be named. Yes.
Yeah, Voldemort. Voldemort. When Voldemort missed the field goal.
Oh, yeah.
I left that game at halftime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think he missed a field goal in the first half, and I'm out.
Yeah, that was maybe the toughest game I remember ever watching. I mean, I don't know. I could probably name some other ones, and I won't for my own sanity. But that was a really, really tough game.
Yeah.
That Colts game was horrible.
It was.
I was at that game. I was at that game. I
The
had
95 game.
Oh, not that one. No, I was at the.
No, you were at the Andrew Luck
I was at the 13 one.
crap show.
Yeah, I was at that one.
Oh, the 38-10.
Yeah, that would be the one. That'd be the one. Sitting behind.
That was my dad's last game to watch.
That was what?
That was my dad's last game to watch alive.
Oh man.
And I'm a huge Chiefs fan because of him. Yeah, that was like he could have just held on, a few more years. You could have seen a Super Bowl, but I cried when we won the Super Bowl because I just thought of him.
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure. For sure.
He called me at halftime. He's like, "I think we got this game won." And I said, I don't know. I said, we've got a few injuries, but hopefully we can hold on. We didn't.
So talking about that game, what is your most lasting memory of that game? Let's take a bad trip here now that we have a Super Bowl that's exercised this demon.
Well, you brought up Alex Smith. I appreciate Alex Smith, what he did for Kansas City. He stabilized the quarterback position, a position we haven't had stability in a while. I mean, Trent Green, but outside of that, we've had a few starters here and there. The one thing I just didn't like about Alex Smith was and we saw it in the Titans playoff game. He'd have a great first half and he would just disappear in the second half. I don't know if it was because he wasn't going to take more chances. I don't know if it was coaching, but it just seemed like that second half, 38-10, we didn't move the ball as well. I know we had a few injuries, but
It was strip sack too. That was big. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and that was one thing about him, we watch Patrick, man, he's still trying to make a play, eyes down the field.
Yep.
Alex would tuck the ball, fall to the ground. He'd try to run, and before the play even developed. I mean, but yeah, I just remember that game just being a second half disaster. I mean,
yeah, the two. Well, I'm going to throw three memories out from that one. First of all, the white trash sitting in front of us with the purple tongues or the blue tongues from all the shots they were taking before that. Woman that tried to start a fist fight with my wife and we were holding our 4-month-old daughter. That was her. I guess she would have been 6 or 7 months old at that time. So that's a lasting memory. The second thing was after the game when Dwayne Bowe essentially made a comment that he could have hurt himself and caught that last ball, but he didn't feel like it, so he didn't. That's a lasting memory. But I just remember that fumble that went into Andrew Luck's hands, and I just remember sitting there, and it felt like it was in slow motion because I was watching it, and the first thing that I thought of, just like, shit, we're gonna lose this game.
Yeah,
like at that moment, I'm like, we're gonna lose this game.
I knew it was it,
and we're going to have to watch that stupid play on every NFL Films production from here to Kingdom Come when they're talking about the rise of Andrew Luck. And, it's immediately like, why didn't we suck for luck in 2012? What was wrong with us? How do we not see this sort of going? And, I'd rather have him than Eric Fisher and blah, blah, blah. But, everything's worked out. Yeah. Okay. So, Brian, favorite Chiefs memory pre Mahomes and Andy Reid era. So, pre 2013.
I was looking. That's probably the first game I ever went to with my dad whenever I was 10 years old. It was in I remember it being the Chiefs versus Bills game. And I'm looking at what it was a regular season game. So this is back when the Bills, I think they went 4 in a row and they lost 4 in a row, which gave us that great line from that movie Heavyweights. He goes, he choked like the Bills in the Super Bowl. Or something like that. Get that movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, great movie.
But it was. I think I found it here. It's November 28th, 1993. Chiefs versus Bills, and it looks like the Chiefs won that game as a regular season game, and we were both 8-3 at the time. So wow, we must have been. I I remember like I don't know if it's because of video games, but I remember like being a huge fan of Nick Lowry. Just for some reason, I was just really big on Nick Lowry. Maybe because he used ice in his veins, right? I remember reading like, obviously this is before we could watch any highlight we wanted on the internet and YouTube and all that. I had to buy books that like broke down like his like great kicks he had to make to like get to the to win the games or go into overtime, and like I remember reading those back in the day, and so maybe it's just like the way it was written, and I was forming my own opinions or choosing identity around 10 years old or whatever, and just stuck with me. And so that was probably my last thing. It was my first walk into a professional sports anything. So obviously you see the big audience, the big crowd, and how intimidating, but it's so exciting and cool it is. And they're putting like, I remember also like, they put like the Jumbotron on somebody, and I remember my dad saying like, that if that's on you, don't do anything stupid.
Oh God. So knowing Brian as long as I have and his dad, that's the most authentic.
My father knew me well. He's like, I know you're gonna do something goofy. Don't do it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. The first one that kind of pops up to me is that 2010 season, back to the playoffs. I went to 3 games that season. I ended up driving down 3 times. Saw the Raiders loss when they were kind of mailing it in at the end of the season. I was at the Ravens playoff, loss and everything, which sucked. But the third game that I went to was game 3, week 3, which was against the 49ers, who were a good team at that point. I remember going with my brother-in-law, and there was a level of, we were surprised that they were 2-0. And I remember the end of that game, just sitting there pounding on the seats, chanting 3-0 and everything. And it was I think we're back. Matt Castles, Todd Haley have us going in the right direction, and in Pioli we trust, and blah,
Tony
blah, blah.
Moiaki is the next
Tony
Gonzalez.
Moiaki is the next Tony Gonzalez. We only draft Tonys to play tight end. It's great.
I think we shut the 49ers out that game, didn't we?
It was a stone cold beatdown. I'm
but-
pretty sure that it was a shutout or close.
Yeah, I think it was a shutout. I'll tell you what, unpopular opinion, but I didn't think Todd Haley got a fair shake here in Kansas City. But I'm glad we've got Andy Reid. But
yeah,
a lot of people down on Todd Haley, but I thought Scott Pioli was
Oh, he was terrible.
yeah.
I mean, if any of that stuff like bugged offices are true and stuff like that, I mean,
candy wrapper in the stairwell.
Yeah. I mean, stuff like that's just horrible. And I mean, I think we've all worked at places where the culture is just not the best.
Yep.
And I just can't even think about what would happen if you're working at the bad job, you walk into a conference room or walk out to the parking lot or just do something to go and just vent to a coworker over the phone. And then you later find, your boss, who's just an egomaniac, asking you questions that are pretty related to that conversation. I don't know how I would tolerate something like that. And I don't really see NFL head coach as one of those jobs you can just be like, my sanity is more important than this. I've got to quit. It's, it's 32 of one of the best job on the planet, and if your skill set is coaching football, then, it's kind of one of those things you have to have. So I totally understand what you're saying about Haley. And I would definitely say that I hold significantly less against him than Pioli.
Yeah, I mean, if you can take a Matt Castle-led team to the playoffs, man, you I mean, but the next year, was it Tyler Palko? We were starting most of that.
Yep, he had an affinity for Tyler Palko.
Yeah. Well, then we go Romeo Crennel, and I just knew that was a horrible hire. I mean, I sat at Tampa when they came to Tampa Bay that year, 2012, I believe. That was unfortunately a few weeks before the Belcher incident, but I just remember, I think Brady Quinn started that game, and Charles, Jamal Charles, one of my favorite Chiefs players, hardly touched the ball. I thought, man, if we could just run the ball and we have a shot, and Josh Freeman throws the ball all over the place, and that was just a horrible game to watch. That was probably the lowest point of being a Chiefs fan, was that year.
God, I remember when Josh Freeman was a thing. That was weird. That was a
Freeman.
weird little period of time. Josh Freeman,
Grandview High School, man, out of Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was going to be He was going to be a thing. He was like the
Yeah.
Big 12 quarterback that finally got it right until he just didn't. It was crazy. It was unfortunate to watch, really.
Hey, Josh, or Brent, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut in here. I hope you don't mind. I think you said Scott Pioli not too long ago. And can I share something with you? Maybe Josh, can you share? Like, that's multimedia, and it's one quick joke I made about Scott Pioli 10 years ago. And it was in front of a big audience, and I want to share it with you. I even have it timestamped in the YouTube and everything. Just gotta click on this if you want to share it with everybody.
Yeah,
I think you might like it.
Hold on, go for it, Brian. You are cleared to share your screen.
Okay, great. All right. So I'll set this up for you. So whenever I worked at an advertising agency in Kansas City called Platform Advertising, and they said, like, everyone can go home on Thanksgiving Day, a day early, if somebody is brave enough to sing Adam Sandler's Thanksgiving Day song. And I immediately volunteered for it because that was not something too fearful. That sounded like fun if you ask me. And I made but you know, some of the song has like inappropriate stuff in it, so I had to rewrite it like that morning. And this is what I came up with. So here we go. This is from 2012, and I look way thinner during these days. I need to get back to this. There you go. Also, you can see all the Peppa Pig stuff. All right. Let me see if I need to share sound here. Hold on here. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Again, Thanksgiving Day song by Adam Sandler.
Turkey with gravy and cranberry. Can't believe the Chiefs haven't fired Scott Pioli.
That's it. That's all I had.
Yeah. Oh God, what year was that?
2012, November 21st, 2012.
2012. Yeah.
Coming up in 10 years ago. Oh, geez, I need to lose some weight.
No,
Hey,
that
get these memories on Facebook and stuff. They pop up. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta lose weight.
yeah,
Like, terrible.
Do it now before you get my age.
Yeah. No,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, sorry. No. Yeah, I definitely remember 2012. That was just bad. Just bad.
Terrible.
Just bad. It's like, are we ever going to be good again? Ever?
They interviewed me after that. They interviewed me and they go, why do you really think Scott Pioli hasn't been fired yet? And my response was, clearly he's the only guy in the office who knows how to fix the printer when it's not working. And as soon as they upgrade to a Lexmark 4000 with a capacity of 500,000 copies per month, you're going to see some changes around here.
Yeah. Wasn't that an Onion with Donald Rumsfeld?
Yes, I stole that from the Onion. I only steal from the funniest people.
Yeah, the Onion had a thing. Donald Rumsfeld, the only one at the White House that knows how, or the Pentagon or whatever it was, that knows how to change the copy machine toner. And it's him. He's like, look, all you got to do is peel the thing off of this end right here and just kind of shake it a little bit. It's not that hard.
I digress. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. I still remember that season. I think it was Jamal Charles, that 98-yard run against the Saints in the third game. And I'm still thinking, okay, we're down 1-2, man. We got a shot.
Yep.
We'd win one more game the rest of the year.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh geez. Yeah. That optimism at the beginning of the season when you have a player like Jamal Charles is the thing that was always just the knife that cut the deepest. Always the thing that cut the deepest.
I brought a memory up with some of my Chiefs friends. I said, hey, do you remember when we used to watch the third string quarterback play and wondering if he was going to be our quarterback of the future? Good times.
Oh,
Yeah.
like Dwayne Hewitt or something? Hey, remember that Dwayne Hewitt run? That was fun. That was a cool history.
Yeah. Tyler Thigpen. Oh, man.
Well, Brody Croyle was going to be the guy.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that guy was going to be it, man. I really did. I thought that guy was going to be it.
A lot of people thought that guy was going to be it.
0-10 as a starter.
Yeah, you want a dog on Sammy Watkins? I mean, come on, Brody Croyle.
Broken Croyle is what I
Oh
used
my
to
gosh.
Yeah, broken
Skeleton
Croyle.
of glass on that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, bad. All right. I think we got enough of this to last a lifetime. Okay, so I think the last couple of things we need to get into. So we're obviously over halfway through the preseason. So Brent, what are the things that you've kind of noticed in the preseason? What are you looking at, and what do you think are going to be some of the biggest names cut, or the biggest like last guy on the roster type of thing?
Well, one of the things I've noticed, and I kind of wrote about them, is I wanted to look at the offensive line.
Yep.
I wanted to see, we spent a lot of money this offseason. Let's see how they do. Before the preseason started, I got a little discouraged with the way, it's Chris Jones, but the way he was kind of manhandling Brown a little bit, Orlando Brown. I kind of like, uh-oh, did we, make a mistake in getting this guy? But after a couple of games, I think we're going to be fine on the offensive line. I mean, I'm really liking is it Trey Smith,
Yeah.
guard out of Tennessee,
Mhm.
and Humphrey. Man, I when we drafted Humphrey, I was like, he's going to be our starter day one. I made that call, and I still think he's still going to be our starter. I mean, he's started both games now, preseason wise. I think our offensive line is going to be very well. I think it's going to take Mahomes, not to bail out like he did the other night out of some good pockets. But that's something he'll adjust to, and I think where he's going to find out, hey, he's going to have a little more time this year. The other one was wide receiver. I wanted to see McCole Hardman, see if he transitions into year 3, to see if he'll be that number 2. And I don't know. I wasn't impressed Friday night. I know some people said, he looked really good with Henny, and maybe it's Mahomes, being off pretty much most of the night. I don't know. I wasn't impressed with McCole Hardman. I still think we need a number 2 somewhere to step up. I did like Pringle. I think he's, done very well. Fountain has stepped up. I'd like to see him run with the ones with Mahomes and see if there's a connection there. Fortson, I think, is going to make this team. Just the way he's played and blocked. I mean, you don't find a good tight end to block, anymore. Not saying Kelsey don't block, because he does, but Kelsey's a weapon, on offense. So we're going to need somebody to block, as a blocking tight end. And then the other one, I wanted to see our pass rush. I think last year we struggled in the pass rushing aspect of the game. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Frank Clark. But if we see Frank Clark, is he going to be the same Frank Clark last year where he didn't do much? We're paying a lot. We're paying a lot of money for a guy that wants to show up in the playoffs, like we kind of did Sammy Watkins. It seems like. I'd like to see Frank, this kind of a contract year for him. I hope he, kind of steps up and we benefit, but I hope we move on next year. And Frank Clark, Chris Jones, I mean, that guy's on an all new level this year. If he can stay healthy, man, he might set some career stats, defensive end and in the middle. Jordan Reed has stepped up. I liked Wharton. That guy has shined in the 2 preseason games. Now, it is preseason, but I hope they get opportunities in the regular season. Sometimes with Indy, guys will flash in the preseason, and you won't see them for several weeks unless there's an injury. So I think if we can get these guys, man, I like how our motor's running on defense. I mean, I think it's Arizona. Murray didn't have Hopkins. I don't think Hopkins played. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember his number being.
Play.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, but I still thought, man, we harassed him most of those 2 or 3 drives he had defensively, and I think our pass rush, if we can get a pass rush this year, it's going to help the secondary tremendously, and we could see a lot better. I think we might have a little better defense than 2019 if that pass rush is any indication what I've seen in the preseason. But that's what I've seen so far.
Yeah, man. If we can get better than our 2019 defense, geez.
Yeah,
might have something there. Chris, any thoughts piggybacking off of that?
Yeah, no, I mean the defense has definitely been impressive, and we traded texts on this earlier today, but when you can cut Taco Charlton and it's not detrimental to your defensive line depth, I mean, that says a lot about where the defense and really the overall roster depth is right now. For me, I think a couple of guys that, one I don't think is in trouble, but he's trending down. And the other guy I do think is in trouble is our 5th round draft picks. Noah Gray really hasn't done much. And, just like you said, Brent, Jody Fortson has been flashing big time. And, I don't think Noah Gray is going anywhere.
no,
But it's going to be interesting to see whether or not they keep 4 tight ends, or if either Blake Bell or Noah Gray ends up having to give up a roster spot for Jody Fortson. It might come down to that. And then Cornell Powell, I mean, he's really not even been featured much. I don't think he played until the fourth quarter on Friday night, if I'm right on that. So, to your point, Darius Fountain has been the star as far as, I guess threes go, and even Marcus Kemp has looked better than Cornell Powell so far. So that's where I'm at as far as who hasn't been looking as good and maybe might be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and the Gray thing, I mean, he doesn't have really much of a rap as being a blocker either. So I think that just builds up the case for Fortson. Again, somebody's going to have to block. They're going to have to be able to bring the extra tight end, and we're going to have to get better at running the ball. So have you guys been impressed with the running backs situation so far in the preseason games, or do we really think we have anything to look at, or are we thinking that the line's doing better?
I might be an unpopular opinion, but I've liked McKinnon over CH, Edwards-Helaire. I mean, I know he banged his ankle up the other day, but man, McKinnon has flashed. I like his speed. I think Clyde is slow sometimes. I mean, I like the power, but I just think he's just slow, and that's my opinion. I know, and maybe because I wasn't happy we drafted him in first round running back, but I'm giving the kid a chance. I mean, I think he's going to pick up some yards. He did flash last year, but I think McKinnon's going to push some playing time over Williams. But I was also going to ask this, talking about Noah Gray. I don't think we're going to give up on him. But do you
Probably
think
not. Yeah.
you think Fortson pushes Bell out?
I think he should.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's going to happen. But no, I think it should be Fortson pushing out Bell, because I'd rather have a tight end who's better at catching than blocking personally. And Bell is not, he's just a blocker, and maybe
I don't think he's done anything in the preseason. Bell,
he really hasn't done much.
Yeah, I mean, names are Fortson. Gray's got a couple passes, but I don't remember Bell doing much of anything.
We don't know much about Noah Gray yet, so I mean, the ceiling is still there for him. Whereas Blake Bell, what his ceiling is.
Third round pick.
Fifth round.
Fifth round. Yeah. So let me ask you this: do you see a world where we keep 4 tight ends?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know though. It's you got to look at the receiver situation. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big D-Rob fan, DeMarcus Robinson. I call him Droppinson, but I mean, I kind of like to see us move on from him. And the way he holds the ball, the way he runs, I mean, he's just a turnover waiting to happen, or some stupid, decision, or crucial drop. I mean, we bailed him out in that playoff game, but to start in that Houston game, he had 2 crucial drops that that game could have been totally different, but I'm glad the outcome, but I don't know. I think we push from him, but if we go less receivers, do we go more tight ends? I don't know. I mean, I could see four tight ends, but I don't think we've ever done that. I think we've kept just mainly 3.
Are we going to have a fullback this year?
Yeah, I don't know his name, but was it
Michael Burton?
Burton,
yeah.
He had a hell of a play Friday night. He had a nice little screen pass, made some yards.
Because I mean, I guess that was my thought is, you could run with either one less wide receiver, you could run without a fullback, but yeah, four tight ends would be crazy. I can't think of a team that's done that, honestly.
No, I can't think, and I don't think Andy's ever gone without a fullback. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he's ever. We don't use him. There are times like, I was at that not All-Star, but the Pro Bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
Where, the sausage went off, and I thought, man, there's a weapon, and that was 2 years ago, and I think he gets still like 1 carry, 2 carries a year.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, I know it's an all-star game. Guys aren't really trying, but I just thought he was a weapon. So and I saw this guy catch a screen, Burton, and I think he went 10, 11 yards on one. I thought there was some burst there, so he could be another weapon, but who knows?
Got it. Brian, any thoughts on preseason? Or are you just ready to be done with this and watching regular season football?
I think I am ready for. I will say this: I think I'm ready for regular season, of course. But I'm just happy to see football back on the television. Right? It's just nice to watch that. Than anything else right now. But I don't know. I mean, you guys pretty much covered, I think, like the really the specific stuff that hardcore fans really want to cover. I guess I enjoyed seeing Henny and like the backup QBs do some good stuff over the first few games. Seemed like they were like really showing what they got, and obviously we have our weapon number 15, but it's just who would remember whenever Henny had to step up against the Browns? Was it the Browns game? Whenever the
Browns,
yep.
down.
And
And
15,
I had some gray hairs I think grow that day, but we made it, and that was like a very heroic moment there. And so to see him back out there doing this thing, and looking good, looking tight, and looking strong, and God forbid another situation like that, but it's good to know that we have a lot of talent out on the field, and we need them to do what we need them to do when they are required to do it. So I'm excited for that.
So Chris, is your boy Shane Bichelle going to be the third stringer, or what are we doing?
and he's looking good. I mean, even the pick he threw, Garrett Dieter fell down. So I mean that was the result or the reason why that happened. But
Dieter, I thought it was good. Is that Dieter that fell?
Yeah, Dieter fell. I don't remember. Maybe it was great.
Yeah, I had to go back and look at it because I was like,
up
why?
the seam, but yeah.
Nobody.
I know he threw it right into the breadbasket of the defensive back. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, I like what I've seen out of Buechele. I hope I don't see Shane Buechele play in the regular season. No offense. But,
oh God, yeah.
It went horribly wrong if he's our starter.
Yes.
Yeah. We're back in the Tyler Palco era. Jeez. God. All right. So last thing I think we want to talk about before we get into the final takes. So we have the arrowheadkingdom.org site. We talk about that all the time. And what you're looking at on the screen on your left are two talented writers that we have for Arrowhead Kingdom column. And everything that we've seen so far has been from these two gentlemen primarily. And so I guess as we get into the season, Chris and Brent, what are you guys most looking forward to when it comes to what we're going to put out on the column?
I'm looking forward to this season. Like I said, this is the first time I've did any writing. So I'm looking forward to whether that's pre-game, in-game reactions, post-game, whatever. I'm just looking forward to it. Something new, kind of a new hobby. So I'm just looking forward to writing about the Chiefs, a team I love and have loved for years. So
sounds good. What are you thinking, Chris?
I wrote about this earlier. I'm very curious to see how the linebacker position is going to go this year. I've heard a lot of good things about Anthony Hitchens, and then with Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. I mean, as I pointed out, it's been a big weak spot on the roster, not just on the defense, and that's going to make a big difference, especially inside the 20. If you get those three, any two of the three that can actually do a better job, covering the middle of the field and going sideline to sideline. I'm really curious to see how they perform during the year and how the metrics play out for them.
Got it. So I'll tell you what I'm really looking forward to is seeing Chris write about the linebackers being better than we thought. And I'm definitely looking forward to see more of, Brent's historical wealth of knowledge that he has working in the lots and watching Derek Thomas's car and stuff like that. I'll even throw this out here live on the internet. I would love to see something from you where you talk about the names that you had for the different players' cars.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Because I know you had that. All right. But yes, I mean, everybody, make sure you keep going to arrowheadkingdom.org. Check out the column every single week. We're going to be putting out a handful of things. You'll be able to see some previews and reactions. We're going to have our different articles. And, as you can see, we've got some passion here. And as a fan community for the Kansas City Chiefs, we're going to be making sure to bring good fan-based content. And, keep in mind, Arrowhead Kingdom is the biggest fan community and the Chiefs are the best team in the world. So we have to be the biggest and best fan community in the world. That's just how the math works on this one. So keep checking us out for our column, and let's get into final takes. Chris, I think you have something good, so you can go first.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm just going to go off about the Kansas City Royals for a little bit. It's been, I don't know if I'd call it a roller coaster, but I remember back when this team was 16-9, I believe I was on record saying, I don't see them having staying power, and the whole season for me really has not been about contending. They were not ready to contend this year. What it's been about is about development, and you're finally seeing it right now. Daniel Lynch, good Lord. I mean, that guy looked like he couldn't, throw out a high schooler. And now he is, I think, dealing against the Astros again tonight. And that's huge because Daniel Lynch was supposed to be, I think, the highest graded pitching prospect out of the system. But you have him, you have Carlos Hernandez, you have Chris Bubich, seemingly all of a sudden he can throw in the mid 90s. I didn't know that was possible, but the pitching is what you really have to focus on this year. It's hard not to get caught up in the losses, but seeing that happen, if Brady Singer can keep coming along, and maybe Jackson Kowar comes up in September and shows some things, that's really what the season's been about for me. Seeing those young guys come up and not just look like they belong in the majors, but look like they're going to be staples in this pitching staff. And then, hopefully next year you start to see the hitters come up. But, I know there's a lot of people that are probably frustrated about, where they were back in April and where they are now, but things are coming together, regardless of the record. And I'm really excited to see them next year, and excited to see Bobby Witt Jr. next year.
And I think Brent, as a guy who's got some proximity to Tampa, can definitely tell you if you build a good pitching culture and things of that nature, you can go some places, whether you have great hitting or not. I mean, the Rays have essentially built an organization that's kind of like the East Coast version of what the A's are, where they're just going to be in the conversation more often than not because of, really, I mean, I look at the Rays as just a team that does pitching better than about anybody else in baseball.
They're so innovative in everything they do. It's
absolutely
really cool.
And they've got a little bit of hitting, though. I mean, this season they got a little bit of hitting. But no, I agree with you on the Royals. I mean, that's my team. And I was with you there on the 16-9. I'm like, this is not going to last, but, I agree with the pitching. It's finally coming along. But that back end, we've, as much as I love Davis and Greg Holland, man, it's time to move on from them guys.
They'll be gone in the off season. I mean, it is tough watching them pitch the way they are now. But
But I love the young guys coming up. Perez, man, I think he hit number 33 tonight. It's just I agree with you. I don't know if we'd be playoff next year, but I don't think they will be competitive.
Yep.
Be a tough out. Be a tough loss for every team. And at times this year we've seen that, and other times you're like, what are we doing?
And if we can just get through these next couple of years with the White Sox not winning anything, then I think we'll be in really good shape. We just need to see them squander their prime the way the Indians did. Anyway, Brent, you got anything for us?
Yeah, this Friday night is our last preseason game at home against the Minnesota Vikings. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be watching the wide receiving core. We're set at Hill and, Kelsey, but after that, it's a lot of question marks. McCole Hardman, Byron Pringle, DeMarcus Robinson. I mean, Fountain, who's going to be the number 2? I mean, who's going to, step up? And if we only have 2 weapons, that's going to make defenses a lot easier to defend us this year. Now, granted, we do have a weapon in Patrick Mahomes, and I think we're still going to be a high-scoring offense. But I could see, like last year, we struggled at times within that receiving core to pull away from people. And if we don't have that strong number 2, I could see us. I was looking at the schedule, the first 4 games. Man, kind of tough. I mean, we got Cleveland. I mean, they're going to come in with a pretty good defense. The Chargers, the Ravens. So I think it's going to come down to that receiving core. Who's going to step up? Now, that granted, there's going to be some cuts. Maybe we get somebody in that, like a someone that's got walking skills or something, but more healthy. But I'm going to be looking at that Friday night, and hopefully McCole Hardman can step up and be that number 2. I know somebody said that he stepped in the number 1 role last Friday night because I didn't realize Hill didn't play.
Yep.
So maybe that was
last minute scratch. Yeah.
right. So maybe that was some confusion on his part, not being a number one. So hopefully, I don't know how long the starters are going to play, if any, but I want to see that. I want to see the receiving core this Friday night. See how they do, because that defensive back for Minnesota is pretty good. The secondary, pretty good unit. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting point about preseason. It's always kind of been a thing where game 3 is the one where you see what you got. I don't know that that's as defined, and game 2 might have been the closest for that we're gonna get. So
I think so, and that concerns me.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I had a hard time watching that, saying that we were giving that kind of preseason week 3 traditional effort, if you will. So
well, in the fourth game, I mean, because this is kind of the fourth preseason game, if you look at it this way, Andy never plays anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Ready for the regular season, but
Exactly.
to me, Hardman should play. I mean,
I agree.
if he's number 2, he should play regardless who the quarterback is. Get him comfortable running the routes and different things. He's got let's face it, he's got the speed. When he catches the ball, he's a threat.
Yeah.
So, does he have the mentality?
Yep.
Can he transition to the number 3 wide receiver to the number 2?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So mine, I'm just gonna make this really quick. If you haven't played before, try fantasy football this year. Make this a new thing that you do. If you haven't played in a while, try it. You'll be surprised how many of your friends and family will be interested in trying to throw a team together for you and let you just try and experience it. I like reading Matthew Berry on ESPN's columns, and he's a big proponent of this. He's like, try, you never know how much fun you're going to have and what kind of friends you might make. So, hey, Brian, you want to play in that fantasy league we're putting together?
I guess.
All right.
I've been spitefully, and there's really no good reason. It's just like I've avoided it for so long. I'm 38 now. And it's time for me to just finally do. No, this is just honestly, anyone listening, I have been invited. This isn't like that episode of The Office where they don't think Michael Scott's ever smoked weed because he goes, they don't think anyone's ever offered him any. It's like, no, people have asked me to join.
But he has been to an Alicia Keys concert though, with the girl with the lip ring.
Secondhand. That was such a good life.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking. Oh, Josh, can I do my final take? By the way, am I allowed to do my own?
Yes, you can do your own final take, Brian.
Thank you, Josh. All right, awesome. All right, production notes. You're now going to enhance. We're going to enhance production with a thing called timestamps. So go ahead and give those a look if you're watching this via YouTube. I'll also give them to Josh so he can put them in our feed for the listening podcast part as well. But if you're a YouTube viewer and listener, go ahead and look in the summary section. You'll find what breakdowns of what we're talking about specifically. So perhaps you want to listen to one thing specifically, a take on something that's probably in the news or whatever is going on. Go ahead and look down there and see where we talk about it. And that should help your listening experience all the better. I also want to say to piggyback off what Chris said about the Royals, I believe I want to give a shout out to them because it was the first ever sweep of the Cubs in Chicago that they've ever did. So
that's right.
So I just want to say that was a big moment.
Yeah.
So wanted to throw that out there. And so, but yeah, timestamps are going to be rolled out this episode, and we're going to continue doing that to enhance the viewer and listener experience. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Good night, Arrowhead Kingdom.
Good night.
Peace.